Hi, this is Era Sunbaum, and this is CSTE 7315, and we're on Topic 5, Learning Management Systems and Learning Tools Interoperability.
A 2014 report by the EDUCAUSE Center for Analysis and Research stated that 99% of higher education institutions have a learning management system in place, and the learning management system is used by almost 85% of faculty and 83% of students. Today, in 2018, this estimate is surely nearing the 100% mark as more educational personnel are using these systems. Even among distrust of computerizing education and the tendencies of faculty and staff to cling to outdated systems, learning management systems have become a huge part of both facilitating online as well as traditional education. Recently, technology tools that assist instructors to teach have become ubiquitous, and more educators are realizing the benefits and advantages of leveraging these types of tools. Additionally, rising textbook costs have spurred publishing companies to create a great variety of technology integrations, tools, and even learning management systems. Many times, instructors and students have instant access to these resources upon purchasing the text.
I'm going to take this opportunity to pull some real examples. From the left, we have Moodle, Jenzabar eLearning, and Blackboard, which you should recognize. Thinking about defining learning management systems kind of got me stressed out because my knowledge has been on the job, so to speak, from being a student, teacher, or administrator dealing with learning management systems for the past 17 years. So I pulled out some rather old books to see if I could get a good description. Kenneth Fee gives just as good a description as any: a means of organizing the learning, a repository for storing, retrieving, and launching courses or their components. A more recent description from Anand Eswaran describes an internet-based platform to teach and learn. LMSs are generally either open source or commercially provided by vendors. Looking at the three examples, you will see LMSs have common features including communication tools like email and discussion forums, grade and attendance management, assignment and content management, extensions for administrative functions, and scalability and customization. Open source software refers to source code being available to adapt. Sometimes these programs have a cost associated and sometimes not. Support also varies greatly between and even within systems. To simplify, using an open source free solution such as Moodle usually requires an institution to support the LMS with an internal team, while commercial products provide a higher level of support such as Blackboard or Jenzabar eLearning, which I use in my position at North Carolina Wesleyan College. Even when that happens, some institutions also provide technologists or trainers to further support faculty. Variation of support, function, and administration vary greatly. Moving on into the back end of things, I want to talk about interoperability standards, and that's why I was excited to do this presentation today, because this is something that I work with quite often. Standards are created to make things easier to connect. Good examples of standards are traffic lights and electrical outlets. Standards are rules that help efficiency as well as establish rules for people to conform to that are aimed towards creating order. Learning management system standards and specifications are overseen by several organizations, including the IEEE, IMS Global Consortium, the ADL, and the OKI. SCORM was developed by the ADL initiative through the Department of Defense beginning in 1999, and it combines 3 specifications to enable content launch and tracking within a learning management system. The current version of SCORM was developed in 2004 and is still widely used in learning management systems. An application programming interface, or API, is something that defines how clients and servers interact with one another, or how programs interact with one another. In educational systems, these specifications are often referred to as Experience API, XAPI, or Learning Tools Interoperability, LTI. LTI has emerged in recent years as the favored standard which vendors use to ensure connectivity across their separate systems. It is an agreed-upon methodology that allows data and records to flow securely and privately through two separate systems. Organizations may get their products certified through IMS, whether they are learning management systems, textbook publishers, or learning tool providers, and these companies can be viewed on the IMS Global website. As you can see here, IMS has a certified product directory that you may look at with a search function and some vendors that you might recognize. For example, Cengage, which is a textbook publisher, McGraw-Hill, Barnes & Noble, and Blackboard, and many, many more. Many vendors that I've had the opportunity to work with include Pearson, McGraw-Hill, Turnitin, Echo360, and YouTube. So, how does this all work? Generally, LTI requires URLs, a key, and a secret code that connects everything together. A tool is identified that can be used for teaching and learning. If the tool and the LMS are both LTI compliant, the two systems can communicate through IT protocols which allow information to flow securely between the two systems. These communications can be created either by instructors or LMS administrators to link the two systems. There are many ways in which this can happen depending on the tool and the LMS configurations. I'd like to show you an example of an integration that I recently performed using LTI. Our college purchased Turnitin software to integrate into e-learning. We have a weird LMS, but it is LTI compliant. Some vendor products work and some do not, as I've found. To set up the product, we attended an administration webinar in which we entered the secret key into both our LMS and Turnitin admin account. We then deployed the learning tool into the LMS, where it now appears in Basic Assignment Settings. When the assignment has been set up correctly, the student is able to submit a paper, which can be deposited into the database or not, and is compared against that repository to identify unoriginal content. A report is prepared, which is transmitted back to the student. When the instructor grades through the Turnitin tool, grades should be transmitted back to the gradebook of the learning management system. So for example, logging into North Carolina Wesleyan College, our learning management system, I can go to My Courses and I can go to a test course that I have set up. I go into Coursework and then add an assignment. If I select the basic format, I can enter all of the specifications for the assignment, but under step 2, here's that learning tool integration. It tells a little bit about it, which is also set when the tool is set up, and then you select a learning tool from the drop-down box. This effectively creates that integration with the Turnitin system so that students' papers can be submitted to Turnitin and the instructor and the student can interact with that third-party software. After saving the assignment, the instructor will get a settings tool, and settings within the Turnitin site can be specified at that point. Some of these settings are specified and drawn out of the Gensbar assignment, and some of them are Turnitin specific, so they can be changed in this settings tool. So that's how it looks from the instructor's point of view. So the integration went swimmingly, but there's a snag we haven't quite worked out. Everything works pretty well besides some odd student issues that likely have to do with browser permissions, except the gradebook is not being written to. After many hours of testing on both parts, I received an email the other day that the URL was incorrect. Rather than going to HTTPS, it was directed to HTTP, which makes a huge difference. I've copied the text for you to check it out, so we will see if that is the issue. This is where knowing the behind-the-scenes programming will really come in handy. I hope I've done a good job of explaining LTI and learning management systems, and I'm really looking forward to answering more of your questions. Have a great day.